Almost there. Good afternoon, friends and family from Santa Cruz County Public Media. We are here at another segment of Meet Your Local Candidates. And we continue bringing you our local leaders, our local candidates, because we want to make sure that this November, everybody goes out and vote. Either vote by mail, vote in person, but we want to expand as much as we can our knowledge in all our local candidates. And today I have the pleasure of meeting Mr. Greg Lucero. Welcome, Mr. Lucero. I know you're running for Supervisor for District Number 2, which in a little bit, you please share with me which one is District 2, all those, little things that we kind of need to know. But it's a pleasure to have you here, Mr. Greg Lucero, running independent for Supervisor of Santa Cruz County for District Number 2. Bienvenido.
Thank you, Marisa. Thank you for having me here. I've always wanted to come to your beautiful studio, and I finally have made it. And I've done work with Eduardo in the past, so I'm glad to be in front of you, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and to your audience. To talk to you about the supervisor districts. There's 3 districts, 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. 1 pretty much covers Nogales. 2 is kind of the west side of Nogales, pretty much on the west side of I-19, all the way up to about Tumacacari. And then District 3 is pretty much two back all the way to Patagonia, Sonoita, and the whole eastern part of the county. So I'm in District 2. I'm running as an independent. I was registered a Democrat. I've been a Democrat my whole life. I switched for this election. I looked at the people that were running, and it's just too hard to run as a Democrat when they've got 5 or 4 people running. Sure. That splits the vote that much more, and I thought I would have a better chance running as an independent, and the issues that I wanted to focus on, I wanted to make sure that they were on the ballot, that people had a choice to vote on the things that I guess I'm advocating or supporting.
I love it. And, I thank you for also sharing that, how you started and right now that you are running as independent, because you also want to explain to all the audience, to the public, your views and very valid, right, Mr. Lucero, like to see, what are to wait, how much opportunities we have, and then, do the switch, because I think at the end, we all vote for what is right.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you should be doing. And it's always better to have a choice than no choice. So,
exactly.
And I guess what I want to be able to do is offer a choice to the people. And, if they like the things that I'm supporting, then great, vote for me. And if they don't, vote for the person that you think is going to do the better job in representing you.
Exactly.
My background, at least in the last few years here in the county, is I've been on the school board, been the school board president, school board clerk for Nogales Unified. Okay. Been on the community college board. Just stepped down as the president of the board. So a lot of what I wanted to run for was focused on education and job training. As the college representative on the county's workforce development board, I wanted to get involved in providing job training programs for our youth and underemployed adults. And so I've been on that board for over 2 years now, and it was frustrating because we don't have any local job training programs. Yes. The job training programs that we do have are in Tucson. So we send people to Tucson, and it's very hard if you're a working adult. You can't take time off to go get trained for a job in Tucson. And so I wanted to start focusing on what could we do at the college to create job training programs at the college. And I've been working on that for a long time, and we still don't have anything in place yet. But through that effort, we've identified a lot of things that haven't been identified before. You know, we met with the local healthcare providers. We met with Mariposa and Carondelet, and we said, tell us what jobs that you're trying to fill. And they gave us a list of about 10 positions that they're continually trying to fill. They're in high demand jobs. And so we started looking at how could we develop these job training programs. And we met with their dean from Pima College to say, can we get these programs here locally? You know, we can't send people to Tucson. Right. The local healthcare providers really don't like sending students up there as well, because once the students go up there and get trained, they don't come back. Right. So they really wanted to get programs here locally. So we had meetings up until this summer. The last meeting we had, we were coming up with the curriculum of what needed to be put in place to start working on these professions here locally. I kind of threw a monkey wrench into it, and I said, look, we're starting these dual credit programs where if you're in the local high school, you can get most of your college education done for free. And so I said, can any of these programs be implemented at the high school level? And so we broke that summer, and the school districts were supposed to get together, and we're going to figure that out. Summer came and went pretty quickly, and so we've started that process up again, and it's a lot more complicated than people realize. So Pima College has a program where they identify school districts where they can provide extended learning programs. And by that, they have the ability to provide more credit hours or training. So at Rio Rico or Santa Cruz Valley Unified, they are recognized as one of these extended learning locations, so they can provide all the classes that the healthcare providers would like to get implemented. Unfortunately, Nogales Unified is not in that designation, so there's a limit as to how many hours they can teach. So working with Pima College, working with NUSD to get that changed, and that's going to be a 2-year process. But the main idea will be is that we can get most of your education covered for free at the high school level, transfer to the college, and now you'll get your certification to be, a CNA or whatever kind of tech that the hospitals or the clinics are looking for. You can get a job. We then have met with South 32, and they want to start doing their training programs as well. So they're looking at electrical technicians, and a little more specificity, they want industrial or commercial electrical technicians. We've met with Pima College. They don't have that curriculum yet, so they're working on developing that. Again, their training classes would be in Tucson, and we're like, no, we want to get that here. So we're meeting with Pima College in 2 weeks. They're going to tour the college facility here in Santa Cruz County to see if they can set up a lab to start doing that training program here. So our hope is that we'll get that program up and running. South 32 will have other programs in the future. The other thing that we're looking at is we've got an electric vehicle charging station manufacturer that's coming into Nogales, Amphenol. So they've already acquired the property. They're looking at starting to train and hire people at their location. Our hope is that with this electrical technician program we get with South 32, we'll work with what Amphenol is trying to do, and then we can start building on that company. And right now they have a contract with Lucid Motors up in Casa Grande. They're trying to get other contracts, and the more contracts they get, the more workers they're going to need, the more training is going to be available. So we want to start working with the EV industry as well. And then lastly, we've got the semiconductor industry, which is big everywhere. I mean, there's incredible jobs that are in high demand. So we're working with the Taiwanese semiconductor company up in Glendale, and they're trying to standardize a training program for their technicians, and we're trying to get a copy of that here at the college. And they're also looking at a pilot program at the high school level. They're trying to get it up in Chandler. We're talking to Chandler, and we're trying to see, okay, get it there. We want to copy it and implement it here. So that was the focus that got me interested in running for county supervisor.
Yes.
The other thing that I wanted to focus on is I do a lot of work with the Chamber of Commerce and big pro-business, support local business. And it's just been very frustrating that contracts, local government contracts, don't get put out to bid locally. They're always sole sourcing. They'll give a contract to people that they've worked with in the past. Unfortunately, most of these companies don't operate a business in Nogales, so all those tax dollars that we're paying are going to a company that has no business operations in Santa Cruz County. They don't pay taxes here. They don't hire local people. So I've been trying to push the board to start awarding or at least putting out the bid contracts so local businesses have an opportunity to get income.
Wow, thank you. And like, I love when we have all our leaders sitting here sharing directly to our audience and sharing all this great information that sometimes we are not aware, but this is why it's great to get to hear it from you, from Mr. Greg Lucero, running for supervisor for District Number 2, but also all the background, all the information that you're moving back and forth. A lot of involvement in education, I can see, and a lot of involvement in also with South 32 and see, the needs and see, and those needs put it together into like the educational field and see how also us, our families here, our children that are going to college, that are graduating from high school, how can they also receive education, maybe, without leaving the area or also having some support. So this is great information for all of us. And then also, it explains a little bit of why are you also running for supervisor for District Number 2, because you are already involved in small businesses, in education, with big companies. So now, Mr. Lucero, you have mentioned South 32. What are your thoughts about, having such a big project with the Hermosa project, with the mine, and also the mine supporting, our education, our children, and being around the community and their.
So South 32 is going to be a huge impact on the community. The difficulty with a company that big is the way local governments were set up. Whatever taxes they generate, unfortunately, don't translate well to local governments. So just to give you some background, so when the state legislature, very conservative, very Republican, don't like taxes. They especially don't like local governments to have control over taxation. So for local governments to get a tax imposed, it's a very difficult process. You have to have a vote of the public, and the public has to support what it is you're trying to do. So when they created all these laws, they set in place limits on how much local governments can actually tax. It's based on previous years' property values, previous year's spending. So there's a cap on how much you can tax people, and then there's a cap on how much you can spend in a given year. So it's a very narrow window that local governments get to operate within. So the tax levy limit and the expenditure limits are set in stone. It's very hard to change those. And when they set these limits in place, it was back in the 70s, government officials never thought that another mine would open up in a rural county like Santa Cruz County. So now you've got this big, huge project coming in that's going to generate millions of dollars in tax revenue, but the counties and local schools can't benefit from it because of these laws that are in place. So, for example, the tax rate, let's say it's already set at a certain amount, and the county is collecting that. South 32 comes in, and whatever they generate in taxes, say it's equal to what, or close to equal to what we're currently collecting right now. The way it works is you don't get to add what South 32 does, you get to subtract what everyone else is paying.
I see.
So the benefit's going to be the taxpayers. We're going to be paying less, but for the county, they're still going to get the same amount of money, more or less. But now you've got this big company that's going to bring all these people to start working, and the county not going to have any resources to cover the impact that it's going to have. So whatever impacts you have from housing and new population, that doesn't benefit the county. It doesn't benefit the schools. If you look at, I don't know if you've gone out to Hermosa.
Yes.
The road out there is taking a beating. I mean, it's just getting beat up. And the county can only spend so much money because it has to take care of roads throughout the county. So, you know, South 32 is going to have to come up with ways to put money into local government so they can start addressing the impacts that they're going to have. That's the only way around it. I've tried to go to the state legislature to get them to make changes in tax law to allow for this kind of anomaly, and it's dead on arrival. It's like anytime you start talking about taxes, it's sort of like, well, Greg, if we start working with you, then everybody's going to want to change the way the taxes are in their county or their city, so it's better not to do it. And they're saying, you just go work out an agreement with South 32.
Right.
And so I guess what I would do, and this is where I think a lot of people become upset with government, is they have these negotiations behind closed doors. And there's no need to have these negotiations behind closed doors. I would advocate for, you know, if we're going to be working with a big company to look at how they can help the community, let's have those in a public forum where everyone is involved. I mean, they're talking about these good neighbor agreements. All that is being done behind closed doors, and you know the impact is going to be on we, the taxpayers, but they don't get to have any role or participation in these discussions. I mean, those discussions are being done behind closed doors, and that shouldn't happen. It should be done out in the public so everyone could see what's going on.
I see, and thank you for sharing all that information, because we know we hear and we also see you know how they're being, you know, moving towards our community, moving forward, and also the importance of also seeing the educational piece and the things that can be done and the things that cannot be done, but also that mindset or the idea of mentioning, you know, it can be open for the public to invite them to those agreements, maybe have them in public if there's any interest, you know, on the...
Well, people are going to be interested with anything that they're doing. I mean, it's a controversial project, you know, where you're for or against mining. You know, the project is on private property. It's going to go forward. How it's going to impact the community should have some input on those impacts. And there's no need to have closed door meetings. Those meetings should be transparent. I mean, the impact is going to be on the community. Let's have the discussions out in the community so everyone knows what's going on.
Thank you for sharing that. And since we're talking very seriously here about, you know, about different views and things that are happening in our county, like big projects, and then, you know, we have our county, and we have the Board of Supervisors, and what is happening also in our county with millions of dollars that have been gone. And now, you know, how can we, and we were talking about this before we started our interview, but how can we move forward, or what would it take for us, you know, for our community, for a whole community to move forward for like the best interest for the community, for the county, for the city, for our leaders? How do you see, if you get elected for the position of supervisor for District 2, how do you see that we're gonna improve, or that we can help together with the Board of Supervisors, with the community? How can the community integrate, you know, the public and your role?
Well, in the discussion we were having prior to getting on the air, it's going to be a very challenging time ahead. You know, I mentioned to you the things that got me interested in running, But I think all that has changed with what's happened with the missing 40 million. It's going to change the dynamic dramatically. The way county has done business in the past has got to change. I mean, first and foremost, I mean, that's evident in just what happened. Everyone is now pointing fingers at each other without really any kind of solutions. You know, the county has said, okay, the treasurer, she was elected, you guys elected her, the board of supervisors really had no responsibility. The auditor, state auditor general comes out and says, well, county supervisors, it was really your responsibility. County supervisors are saying, oh no, we're gonna sue you, state auditor general, because you should have caught this as well. You know, at the end of the day, everybody has a little bit of blame, and I guess including us, the residents, because you've seen in the interviews in the newspaper, everybody saw what was going on, and no one questioned it. It's sort of like they all made assumptions, and there was plenty of opportunity to say, hey, wait a second, you know, let's see what's going on here, and you know, and I've tried to, you know, for myself, trying to figure out, because I was in county government for a long time, how could have this happened? And yeah, the only thing what I've come to the conclusion is you know, it was complacency. People are so used to doing things the same old way. They didn't question it. They didn't do that. And what leads to that kind of thing? And well, it's lack of change. I mean, first and foremost, I think if you look at all governments, from the federal down to the local, they all have term limits now. I mean, your city council has term limits, the mayor's got the term limit, your state legislators have term limits, the governor has term limits. Guess who doesn't have term limits? County government. They don't have any term limits. And I think that's probably one of the things that needs to happen is we need to get rid of career government elected officials. I think, you know, a 2-year term for all these positions is probably more than enough time. That's 8 years. You know, you shouldn't be running to make this your career where you're going to be there for you know, 20 something odd years. And I think that sort of leads to this this way of approaching things. It's just easier not to rock the boat. It's easier just to be quiet, just to get along, and that doesn't work for government, especially when you're dealing with the people's money, that you should be questioning things that are going on. But after a while, people say it's just easier not to do it. You know, I talked to you earlier about you know, putting stuff out to bid. You know, when I talk to you know, friends I have at the county, and I said, why don't you guys put it out to bid? They're like, yeah, we probably should, but it's just easier this way. You know, and the same thing could be said, you know, for the supervisors. They probably should have asked more questions or been tougher, but they didn't. And it's just, it's very disappointing. You know, when good things happen, everybody wants to take credit for it. When bad things happen, everyone likes to blame the other person. And I guess in this situation, it probably would have made more sense for somebody to finally stand up and say, yes, we made a mistake. We didn't do our job correctly. This is what we're going to do to fix it. Right now, everybody else is looking at what's going to happen. You know, looking at the state government, a lot of legislators are looking at Santa Cruz County, and they're going to start introducing all sorts of bills to change what happened here so it doesn't happen again. And there's things that the supervisors could do now to start implementing those changes. And you know, as I've been walking around talking to people in the community, the people are just angry. They're just angry and they're frustrated because of the lack of information that not coming out. They're angry because they see what happened. They haven't seen anybody been punished. You know, they've read in the paper where, you know, employees got cars, loans, gift cards, and you know, and then you talk to the county and they can't tell you anything. And I think that's where people are frustrated is, you know, when something bad happens, you've got to be able to start telling people what's being done to correct it. As I told you earlier, you know, I sat on the school board, I sat on the college board. The treasurer handled money for the school districts, the college district, and they would get this money and put it in this one account that only the treasurer had control over. When that happened, the county reached out to all the districts and said, hey, we need to meet with you and tell you what's going on. And, can you guys go back and look at your books to see what, if anything, is wrong? And it was very difficult for the school districts because we don't have the connection to the bank. It's our connection to the bank is through the treasurer. So, we only could go with what the treasurer was telling us. So in this situation, they met with us and they said, okay, we're going to keep you guys informed as our investigation moves forward. We'll keep you up to speed on things that we're finding out. That was the last meeting we had with them. They have not shared information, and I can understand the county's position. They're looking at how to protect the county as a government organization, but in doing that, they're basically throwing all the other districts to the curb. And they've then decided, okay, we've looked at this 40 million and Santa Cruz Valley, we've decided this is what your share of the loss is. Nogales Unified, this is what your share of the loss is. Fire districts, this is your share.
Right.
And we're kind of sitting there, how did you guys decide that? I mean, why didn't you put us all in the room, let's all talk about it, come up with a formula that makes sense on how to allocate this loss? But the county took it upon themselves to tell you this is what your share is going to be, and it's not fair. I mean, it just isn't fair. The impact to the school district is going to be horrendous. You basically have taken away the saving account that the school districts have worked years and years to maintain. It's gone. And the other thing I've thrown out there is the state's ESA voucher program, these educational scholarship awards. It's bankrupting the state. I mean, the state's going to have to be making some cuts, and I see that happening in the coming year.
Right.
And the state does not support public education, so I anticipate that public education is going to be seeing a cut. Well, guess what? The local schools don't have any money to fall back on because it's gone. Parents should be angry, students should be angry, teachers should be angry because this is a huge impact on the community, and it's not going to get solved overnight.
Right.
When I was county manager, our reserve balance was $1 million. I was there 10 years. It took me 10 years to get that reserve balance up to about $12 million. So that's 10 years to get to that point.
Wow.
Now it's wiped out. So, we're starting from ground zero.
Yes.
Right. And then I think also as the community, as the parents of, children going to school, going to college, also the importance of knowing how important it is to go to our board meetings. As simple it can be as going to the school board meeting or going to the Santa Cruz County board meeting or to a city council meeting, just so we are part of them.
You see how government works.
Exactly. We're involved and, just counting how important our voice or our questions can be.
Well, and for those people that, it's funny, it's like when people announce that they're going to run, all of a sudden they start going to these meetings and it's very hard for them to learn how government works by you just showing up one day and you think that you're going to get it. It doesn't work that way. The county government they've taken out transparency. They've implemented what they call a consent agenda, and they put all these things that a lot of them are controversial, and they put them on there so they don't have to discuss them, and they put 30 things on one agenda item, and it's a straight up vote, no discussion, and it's done with. And so it's very frustrating if you're new to the game and you show up and you think you're going to talk about something, and all of a sudden you get there and it's done, and you're like, when did that happen? Well, it was under the consent agenda and it was voted on at the start of the meeting. You missed it. Sorry.
Wow. Yes. So how can we prepare for that? So let's say, because I think that now through our interviews, to talking to leaders like you, I think we also are good encouragement to our future generations to go and start, their leadership career and maybe going for like mayor or for supervisor, one of these, terms. So what will be your encouragement for all these new generations that will love to run for a position in a couple of years, in 10 years, in 6 years?
Well, and I think some of the things we touched on, it's, you kind of said, I want to paraphrase it, is the glass half empty or is it half full?
Okay.
We're in the situation right now where, in a lot of ways, we're in a good position because a lot of things are going to change in the next coming year. So there's an opportunity to get excited, to get energized about things that are going to be happening with local government. We've got 2 positions at the city, 2 key positions. The city manager, deputy city manager. There's an opportunity for the city to bring in the right leader to move the city in a direction that's going to benefit everybody. Same at county government. Here's an opportunity where a lot of elected positions are up for a vote. Here's an opportunity to elect people that are going to bring in change and move the county in a new direction. So it could be a good opportunity for the community if the right people are hired or elected. Things can move in a pretty exciting direction. Or you can keep the same people in and have the same stuff happen and then just complain about it that, why are things getting any better? Well, you keep electing the same people.
I see. And thank you. Yeah, thank you for all this, for expanding our knowledge and everything pretty much. So, Mr. Lucero, where can we see you? Where will you be around? Because we have from here to November to get to know a little bit more about yourself. So will you be around community events, around areas where people can get to?
I've heard there's going to be this farmers market coming up.
Yes, thank you.
I think I'll be there. Can you tell me a little more about that farmers market?
Yes, thank you. And to all our audience, thank you for sharing. And everybody, it's welcome. So M&M Family Orchard will have their monthly educational farmers market. So this is a great opportunity for every local vendor to go in there, show what sell what they have, what they provide. We have like from kids entrepreneurs to business leaders that they come to different farmers markets and then they go to our place. We have food trucks, and while we have music and introductions and meeting people and networking. I am a bilingual children's book author, and I just came back from Phoenix presenting my book Fire Heroes, that it was number 7 worldwide best-selling book.
Wow.
Yes, we were very excited for that. So in December and January, so I got the privilege of having a best-selling book. So I always read to our children, either that book or my other book, If I Eat My Fruits and Vegetables. But it's a great, Are you going
to sell autographed copies of your book?
Yes, I do. I do all the time, and then I'll do readings. I also teach children around about sunflowers, about lavender, and we're just.
So you grow sunflowers and lavender.
Yes.
And what do you use lavender for?
So if you want to know a little bit more, so I use the oil. We learn how to extract lavender oil. It's a big process, but I also do organic deodorants with the community and teach them how to use them, the benefits of lavender. Sometimes we do like arts and crafts with lavender. So if you want to stop by, it's September 14 from 10 to 2. And I think
and the location is where?
It's 310 Camino Caballo, and I think Edgardo is doing me a big favor and putting the poster and the screens while we're talking about it. So everyone is welcome. Stop by. I think it's a wonderful time to get to know neighbors. I didn't know, for example, we've been doing it for like about a year and a half already. So I didn't know my neighbor next door was an artist.
Wow.
So she did one of those educational farmers market, a guided paint. So it's a great time to connect, to talk to others, to share our visions, and it's just a great way for children to get to know the area, read, and just have a good time around the animals. And so stop by on September 14. Hopefully we get to see you. That's your district.
I will stop by.
Yes. So it's a great time to get to know other people and connect. So thank you for
my pleasure.
for sharing.
I look forward to seeing you at the farmers market and getting an autographed copy of your book.
Of course, that will be my pleasure. And we are also building a garden community area right there. So if you're interested in bringing a plant or planting with us, we're gonna start planting on that little corner where the bus stop passes by. So children, while they wait for the bus to come in, they can grab a book or plant and be,
So you can start planting some grapes and carrots, so that way they can eat while they're waiting for that.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, that will be great to see you and to see all of you September 14 from 10 to 2 p.m. So thank you for that. And which other place will you be from here to November?
Well, my latest adventure was I was calling bingo for the Rio Rico Community Center,
nice.
and I think they trained me pretty well the last time. So they've invited me back, and I will probably go back.
You did good.
People that hadn't won before won, so I think they want me to come back. So I really had a good time with the people out there. So I look forward to doing that. And then if anybody wants to call me or invite me to have a discussion on things that I'm working on or they'd like to see me work on, I'd be happy to sit down and meet with them.
Awesome.
I guess a couple important dates. Early voting starts October 9th. So ballots will be going out here in the next couple weeks, I suspect. So be sure to make sure that you vote early and vote for the candidate you think is going to do the best job for you. And then you have the general election on November 5th. So, but what's happening now is it seems like most everybody's doing the early voting. I want to say it was like close to 85% of the ballots came in were early voting. So
yes. And don't forget, if we're voting early by mail, just to return our ballot on that time frame. I think it's very important to share all those like tips and tricks for our community, because I know we're always in the run as parents, taking our kids to school, and we see the ballot and I'm like, okay, I still have a couple. But I learned also through the Santa Cruz County, sometimes it takes a process. Once you put it in the mail, sometimes it gets to Phoenix and comes back. So let's make sure that if we're voting by mail, that we do it early.
As soon as you get it, fill it out and send it back.
Send it back. Yes, that's important.
That's a good commercial.
Yes. So because and that's what we want. That's our goal, to have Santa Cruz County to increase on their voting, because we know that sometimes we just need to get to know a little bit more about our leaders and get to know a little bit more about what it takes to vote, who qualifies, who doesn't, and like all those little questions that I'm sure like all of you leaders that can support answering, and if not, I'm sure you can redirect all our
But what you're saying is important. You got to have that dialogue, because if you're talking to me about something I don't know, you're educating me, and then when I go to find the answer, I'll talk to other people that hopefully will have the answer that you're looking for. So communication is real important, and I think having access to your elected officials is also important. When you call your supervisor or your city council member or the mayor, they should be able to pick up the phone and answer you, or if you send an email, they should be able to respond in a timely manner. And I've heard a lot of people frustrated where they call their electeds and they don't get the return phone call, and it's very frustrating. And there's a reason that you ran for the job, and it's to do the job. And unfortunately, the job isn't always going to be fun, and some people are going to be upset because things aren't being done right, but it's your job to fix it.
True, true, and thank you for sharing. And I think that's why it's important that we keep communicating with our audience, with our community, because I know sometimes we are afraid, or maybe not afraid, but just not, or embarrassed, or just a little bit more concerned how to approach one of our leaders from our community, or how to ask a question. But at the end, I've seen in Mr. Lucero, we're all humans, we're all people, and we love to talk and encounter our audience and answer questions. So that's why you are here sitting with us. So how can they contact you? Do you have any social media, any email that we can share with our audience?
My email is greg@brightstarpr.com.
Okay.
That's probably the easiest way to get hold of me.
Perfect.
I've got like 10,000 emails, but I answer all of them,
Right.
and it just takes me a while to find them sometimes. But hopefully I'll be invited back and
Of course.
can talk to you and your audience closer to the election time, and after
course.
you've heard other candidates give you their spiel on why you should vote for them. Hopefully you'll invite me back, and I'll tell you why you should vote for me again.
Yes, and of course, and please share with us right now before we say goodbye to our audience. Obviously, I want to make sure that you share all the information that you would like. But why should we vote in our district number 2 for supervisor to Greg Lucero?
So I think the most important thing is, as I said earlier, we're at a good place to make some good changes for the community. My focus is going to be on education, job training, supporting local businesses, and then also put, I guess, stricter controls on government, the way it operates. I mean, I'll be looking at term limits. I'll be looking at implementing stronger policies on how money is handled or managed at the county level. So if you're looking for positive changes, vote for me.
Awesome. Yes, thank you. And thank you for sharing. And of course, you have your studio. Anytime you would like to come to give us updates also about any educational news that are coming up here in Santa Cruz County, anything for the businesses, let us know. This is your home. This is a place for everyone, for all of our audience to be here, share educational information, positive news. So please come back. And we invite all our audience to continue to follow us. This podcast will be on Spotify, on YouTube, Roku TV, Amazon Fire, Facebook Live, Instagram, TikTok,
Everywhere.
Everyone. So we will not have an excuse for not voting or not knowing our local candidates. So
Exactly. You guys do a great job.
Thank you. And anything else, Mr. Lucero?
No, I want to thank you for the time. It was
course.
very, very enjoyable experience, and I'm looking forward to going to the farmers market
Of course.
on the 14th.
Thank you. And thank you for coming here with us. We will see your name in the ballot as Greg Lucero for supervisor for district number 2, correct? Okay, awesome. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching us. We will see you all next week with another segment of Meet Your Local Candidates. And I will see you on Saturday, September 14 from 10 to 2 p.m. at M&M Family Orchard. Thank you so much, and see you guys very soon. Bye.
Bye.